So this is the start of the video for this week, and as you can tell, I am not in my recliner. That is because I'm going to be going outside for a walk, and I've decided I'm going to start the vlog right now and show you guys a little bit of what I was going to shoot last week when I got that email from PGI. So, and I'll do the best I can because I have no one to hold my phone right now. So, this will be interesting. Let me see if I can, if I can drive and have to drive very carefully here. Hopefully I don't do this. And so that's what I have to do every time I get out of the house, which is one of the reasons I really want a service dog, to be able to like open and close the doors, particularly if I have to close my storm door, which is slightly more heavy, and so that's kind of how this vlog's gonna start today. And hopefully in the next few months I will actually have more that will be outside, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so my intro really doesn't really have much to do with what this week's video is about. I got my idea for this week's video from seeing a little article that Paws Giving Independence posted a couple of days ago. And it was essentially a bunch of GIFs illustrating just kind of things that service dog handlers have to go through. And so I thought I would outline those and my thoughts on them. Okay, these clips might be a little bit jerky, but I'm going to do the best I can because I have to scroll and video at the same time. Let me see. Let's see if I can do it like this. Yes, I think that will work just fine. Okay, and so these are 13 GIFs that illustrate or things that will happen to service dog handlers at any given point of time, and I'm expected to have to deal with these at some point. So the first one is the moment you walk into a store. And I've done this, so I have some experience with it. Like, you're lucky if someone, you walk into the store with your dog and someone completely ignores you or looks at the dog and doesn't really react, like, oh, it's a dog. And you're lucky if that is the reaction you get. Most of the time, it is not. I was trying to do some training with my other dog. I was going to train as a service dog, and that didn't go so well. So, but people were pretty nice about it, and I didn't really have much trouble as far as that was concerned. And I really haven't had this next one happen to me. Someone be nice about asking to pet the dog. I mean, it depends if I'm doing drills or, and I'm going from my experience, what I did with my other dog that I was training, my Labrador Diesel. I mean, obviously, if someone's nice and understanding and I'm not too busy or doing anything, yeah, I can see asking them or letting them pet the dog if I'm done with whatever I'm doing and heading out. That's fine. But like many things, there are exceptions to every rule, and so I mean that's just. I mean, I'll have to see how things go, and I will obviously keep you updated on things as my own journey unfolds. So, well, and when and when I get a match, you'll be the first to know. So, see how that goes. Oh, this is a big one. When someone pets your dog without asking. I find this happened more when I was training my other service dog, Diesel. And it was more like just people trying to sneak pet the dog when it's walking by. I do find that rude. But at some point you just gotta let things go, I think. But I just don't. I'm up with this one. I just don't. I think people should ask if they're going to, and I will answer accordingly. So, but I mean, that again is different for every service dog team, and but I think a lot of the handlers can agree with me that you just don't want people coming up to your dog and distracting it. I guess that's what I see it as, is if someone just randomly comes up to your dog and pets it, it's a distraction, and sometimes they don't pay attention to the best. So, I mean, kids are another story completely, but still make the parents aware and make them aware, no, you can't do this. But even adults have that problem, so. Oh, going out of the house. I am well prepared for this, and you will most likely see at least one video of me trying to get out of the house. Going back to my clip I showed at the beginning of this video of me getting out of the house the other day. So, I mean, it's just hard, and having a dog and having to get the dog to be to vest the dog up and get out the door, most likely if I'm going to be taking the bus somewhere, it's going to take longer. And I think I've kind of come to that realization that it is easier, but you have to take things as they are. Either your life's going to be easier, but you're going to have things that you won't be able to do as efficiently without the dog, but you'll have things you'll be able to do better with the dog. But having the dog, things are going to take longer. So, I mean, you have to either have one or the other. You can't have a service dog and have things move quickly. Because I can remember when I was training my other dog, I had, every time I took him to school with me, it would always take me 5 or 10 extra minutes to do something or get somewhere, get through the door, things like that. And you know, and when I took him to college with me, it would be I would have him with me all afternoon, pretty much, or all morning, depending on how long my classes were. So things were never really fast. It took me a minute to get out of class. It took me a minute to get from point A to point B. So that's pretty much that. It takes longer. And depending on how much gear you have for the dog when it's out, that's another thing to consider. So, just your gear in general. Yes, another thing I'm prepared for. Service dogs are not robots, and I am prepared for that, but I think I had this big misconception the dog was going to do everything perfectly every time. That is not the case, because a service dog is still a dog. They're going to have days where they're going to be a dog, even when they have their vest on and they're working. So, I mean, I think if anything, this is teaching me just being able to talk through it and think through it, that you just have to roll with the punches. And I just really have to be able to think through this and be mindful, I think, of just that the dog is going to have off days, that it's not going to do things perfectly all the time. So I just got to take that with a grain of salt and roll with it. So that's something I'm still learning and I'm still trying to process, even though I haven't been paired with a dog yet. But that is something you'll probably hear a lot about on this channel, is if the dog's having a rough day or if I'm frustrated about something. I'll probably film about that a little bit, but we'll see. And because I don't know where this channel's gonna go in the next year. I'm hoping I have more news for you guys by the end of the summer, but we'll see. Yes, dog people coming up to a service dog, and it's like, it's just one of those shake your head moments, and it's like, yeah, of course, but the dog's focused on what it has to do, and it's not going to come up to you and want to be your best friend. It's working. So, I mean, another thing I guess I just have to deal with, and as one of the other YouTubers I watch said, you really have to pick your battles, I think, as a handler. And that's one of the things I don't think is worth getting worked up about. But like I said, this channel is really an outlet for me. And it's just kind of how I'm processing things and how I'm learning things. And how my views have changed since starting this channel and as things move along. So we'll see how that goes. I've had dogs have accidents in public, so it doesn't happen very often, but I had a dog that had never been out in public before, and we were going through the store and she had an accident. So, but I mean, that's just another thing you have to deal with when you have a dog. And hopefully as a handler, you're prepared for those things and you plan accordingly. And you can handle that, and that's no big deal. The "I didn't even know the dog was here" thing that you occasionally get. That should be like the biggest compliment to a handler, because I can remember taking my other dog out and he was being so quiet. Usually he was out to a restaurant. The waitress didn't know he was there. Sometimes they're being so good, I want to say, "Hey, look at how good my service dog in training is being." And but then at that point you're usually jinxing yourself and the dog doesn't lie down for the rest of the time you're out. So but that's just kind of my experience with that. And I think good service dogs that are seen and not heard are the best kind of service dogs, which kind of, in my mind, kind of ruin my expectations of what I expect my dog to be like. So, but that takes a lot of time. It takes 2 years to get a dog to that point, and even then, they're not going to be on and 100% all the time. And I'm still learning that and trying to process those things. And I can't predict how this is going to go or how the dog's going to be on any given day, but I just got to roll with it and take it as it comes. I've never had someone ask me where they could get a vest, but I've heard too many stories about people passing off their pets as service dogs, and just so they can take them out, or people take their dogs out and don't even bother with a vest of any kind. That actually isn't something that I came in contact with. Around the time I had dogs, I had a service dog or have been around service dogs. I actually had a friend in college who also had a service dog at the time, and our dogs tended to butt heads a little bit. But that was just another thing that was something I had to deal with when I was handling a dog when I was in college. So but yeah, I'm actually glad I've never had someone ask me that when I was out with my dog. So, or I would have told them to, get away from me and said, "You can't just get a vest and take your dog out. You need to have a legitimate reason that you need the dog out in public and have a verified disability, blah, blah, blah." So, yes, these are going to be my favorite days and my favorite part of having a service dog. When everything goes like clockwork, you can get out the door, the dog is doing the job it's trained to do, and it's going to be like, and you're like, that's why I got that dog. That's what makes my life worth all this time that I put in to train with this dog. And that's what I'm hoping for, that I can say at some point, maybe as soon as this time next year, I hope, that I'm matched with a dog and I'm going through my training. So I'm hoping to have many of those days. I can't really relate to this because I'm not going to have a medical alert dog. So I can't relate personally to these people that have these medical alert dogs that are getting medication or protecting them from certain medical attacks. I can't really relate to this one that I could say that my dogs saved my life. I can say that the type of service dog I'm going to have is going to make my life easier. But I can't say, even after working with the dog again, that the dog has saved my life. But I can imagine that means a lot to the people that have dogs that do medical alert stuff for them every day, or seeing eye dogs that help their owners cross the street, or maybe the autism spectrum dogs that help children live normal lives and be able to go to school. And so that always makes me smile when I hear stories like that. And the last one, I'm really looking forward to when I can just be hanging out and know that I made the right choice to apply for a service dog. And I'm still kind of waiting for confirmation of that. I feel like I'm going in the right direction to be independent, but is a dog going to factor into that at some point? I want to have that moment where I'm training and I want to say, oh, I made the right choice. The agency hasn't blown me off as I'm not eligible for a dog or something of that nature. We'll see. And I guess in my case, I really just want to keep praying about it and let it be the way it's going to be. But that's the one thing out of the 13 things that I noticed in this article that really hit home for me is having those days when you know it is worth it to have the dog that's going to be an asset to your life and make your life better than it was without the dog. So those are the things that I've kind of highlighted from that article. Just kind of my thoughts on those 13 things that service dog handlers may or may not go through, and just kind of some of my experiences I've had and being around service dogs and training them. And I'm hoping my journey with my new service dog continues to teach me many more lessons, many more than what I could even hope to outline here. So until next week, this is Service Dog Diaries, signing off.